Hey everybody, it's Jonathan from Radio Tokyo, and I'm first off, I want to apologize. Uh, if you follow us on Facebook, which I sincerely hope you do, you know that we did a redesign of our logo and everything. You can see our new standard background screen here is different, Um, but this is a fucked up week. Um, we were planning on coming back this week and doing, all our shows on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, everything, um, and doing stuff about the Warcraft movie, which is amazing, and some of the stuff that's coming out in the summer and all that stuff. And then we had another mass shooting in the United States again. So if you have bothered to look at the news at all this week, and I hope you all have, for numerous reasons. But like I said, we had another shooting over the course of the weekend. It was at a LGBT club in Orlando, Florida, called Pulse, and the shooter was, but for whatever reason, people are just not letting go of the fact that apparently he was a Muslim. But he killed 49 people and wounded 50 plus more. I think it's about 10 or 12 that are still in the hospital right now. Yeah, so if you're, actually watching this, instead of just listening, like, okay, even though I know this is a podcast style show, we still post actual images on screen, because if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it, or on Facebook, because we're going to be loading it, posting the videos there now. But yeah, the names on the screen you're seeing right here are the people who were killed, and it's fucked up. It's fucked up for a lot of reasons, and to be honest with you, I kind of had a thought, just in my head the past couple days, and I want to express it a little bit, not just because not just because I realize that our show is a platform from which I can speak. It's more because I want to say it, get it out there, and that way I can add, my voice to the conversation. And if all of you have thoughts or whatever about it, we would love to hear back from you. But anyway, I'm gonna try and not echo John Oliver here, because if you have watched, or if you follow us our Facebook page, you noticed we showed, or rather we posted the clip of John Oliver from last week tonight. Their interruption before the show. Anyway, my thought is that the shooting in Orlando is a hate crime. You're welcome to call it domestic terrorism, or a radical Islamic jihadist, or you can call it an act of a madman. That's not much. It's not as much of a madman as Donnie Draper. I really shouldn't make jokes. I'm sorry, but anyway, literally, you can call it whatever you want to, but it's still going to be a hate crime. Like I said, the shooter was allegedly an ISIS supporter, apparently. And the reason he's an ISIS supporter is because he's a Muslim. That's what's been said on all the news media. Like that's the big story. He's a homegrown radical Islamic terrorist. Okay? So, I suppose it's fair to say that since Islam teaches that it's okay for believers to lie to cover up their true intentions, that any and all Muslims could possibly be exactly what this person was, a radical. But he was supposedly investigated by the FBI at least twice since 2013, and he was on a terrorist watch list. And allegedly his dad was also a member of the Taliban and a candidate for president of Afghanistan. But that's where the holes in the issue start to form. The shooter has already been identified as being a regular patron of Pulse, and he apparently had a Grindr account. Now, those of you who don't know what Grindr is, it's a smartphone app that lets gay men meet and hook up with other gay men. So this is, like I said, this is where the holes start to form in this, okay? Why would a supposedly devout Muslim go to an LGBT nightclub to drink and to dance and to meet with gay men? Is he denouncing, the sin after he experienced it, or was he maybe a closeted homosexual? Uh, was maybe the punishment for the sin of liking other men by his family to go and kill other gay men and then get initiated out to police and kill himself? No, it's not, because essentially that would be suicide by cop, and suicide along with homosexuality is an abomination in Islam. And then again, so is murdering somebody. And excuse me, that's a big issue here because we're in the middle of Ramadan. This is the holiest month for Muslims. And if this man is supposedly a devout practitioner of Islam, he wouldn't be committing these crimes. Okay, you know what I'm saying? He wouldn't be murdering innocent individuals. Okay? None of it really makes any sense when you look at all the allegations that have been made about him. The only thing that really makes sense, at least to me, is that he killed 49 people and wounded 50 or so others in a senseless act of violence that now we will never have a fucking answer to because he's dead. Nothing so far that indicates a motive has been posted like online. Like there's no, manuscript or anything. There's nothing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Grindr, YouTube, Reddit, nothing. Not one shred of evidence or thought to his reasoning behind killing people has been discovered. But that goes back to another detail. What we know about him actually comes from his ex-wife. According to her, he was abusive towards her, and he supposedly had mentioned, killing people, okay, which is where the idea of him being a homegrown terrorist comes from. But we know that he worked as a security guard at a government building. And the only other information that's really known about him, like concrete, is that the FBI actually has admitted, yes, they had investigated him due to his online consumption of radical propaganda. So he had anger issues, and he watched a lot of videos online of people getting their heads cut off and stuff like that. Okay, excuse me again. That kind of sounds to me a lot like the stereotypical mass murderer, lone gunman archetypes. So all of that said, maybe Omar Mateen, which is his name, maybe he was secretly a gay man and was wrestling internally with his desires, and finally he just couldn't fucking accept what he had done because of his religious upbringing, and decided that in order to make things right with God, he had to kill others and himself. So let's just assume that, alright? Why then was he allowed to legally purchase the weapons that were used? Okay? A man who's been investigated by the FBI is on a terrorist watch list and has a history of abusive behavior that has been reported to police, was, for some unknown reason, allowed to buy a gun. And I know there's some people who are listening to this, excuse me, are going to say, but Jonathan, the Second Amendment says, no, fuck you. I know what it says, okay? And in fact, it says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This man lived in a free state, and he was not part of a militia, let alone a well-regulated one. And most importantly, he was allowed to buy a gun and then kill people. So, some people are going to say, but Jonathan, gun control can't interpret evil intent. Yes, it can. It can. If there is, for example, a waiting period between purchasing the firearm and actually getting it in your hands, that can give someone who's angry time to calm down. Or just, to kind of get around that idea, how about the motherfucker was marked as a potential fucking terrorist in all background checks, and he shouldn't have been allowed to leave the building without the police being notified. Because Dylan Roof, the shooter in Charleston, South Carolina, was legally allowed to purchase his weapon as well. And not only do we all know how that turned out, we all know that he too had a history of breaking the law. But Jonathan, again, this is one of those moments where it's a but Jonathan argument. Someone might say, well, he just had mental health issues. He needed help. No, not going to go there. I'm not going to address the issue of mental health because I sincerely doubt, one, that it would help, and two, that it would have actually stopped him. I say that because Brock Turner is seemingly a walking, talking string of those moments of mental health concerns, like the moments of insanity. And he pretty much just fucking white privileged his ass out of prison time after he raped a girl. So it's not that I don't care about mental health care reform, it's just that society doesn't care. And, those of you who would want to bring this up, please do not get started on the gun-free zones and the example of Chicago bullshit either, okay? There's no law in Chicago that says that a citizen cannot leave the city and go to Indiana or Michigan or anywhere else and buy a gun and then come back to Chicago, okay? Criminals don't fucking follow laws. So don't say stupid shit like gun-free zones and that's supposed to head stop them, because I'm honestly tired of hearing that bullshit. Okay, I really am. Okay, the point I'm getting at here is that after Timothy McVeigh blew up the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, the government stepped in and banned people from being able to buy large amounts of fertilizer. After the September 11th attacks, the government banned pocket knives, X-Acto knives, razor, like shaving razors, box cutters, tweezers, fingernail clippers, toothpicks, and whatever else from airplanes. Okay, they even carried that and said no liquids more than like 3 ounces. Okay, after a failed attempt to bring a bomb on a plane in a shoe and set it off, every airline passenger now has to remove their shoes and have them inspected. The United States has reacted by banning, or at least furthering the restriction on something after every attempt to kill or maim others with that item, okay? That's why I'm bringing up the 9/11 terrorists. They use box cutters to kidnap, to bring in planes, okay? So how about we just use this time to constructively discuss the fact that a man on a terrorist watch list was allowed to legally buy a gun? Maybe after 49 deaths over the weekend, it might be a good moment for us all to take a deep breath, just calm the fuck down and think about it. Except no. Instead of having a conversation, like actually having a realistic, constructive conversation after the largest mass shooting in modern American history, this has devolved into a bunch of petty nonsense over gun rights, LGBT equality, and radical Islam. And it's gotten to the point that Donald Trump is calling the president a liar, and the NRA is taking this side. I'm like, just no, stop. I really don't know why it's doing that though. Okay. What I do know, however, is that this was a hate crime. And that's when we get back to the beginning. We've literally come full circle at this point in time. And after all of this, excuse me, after telling all of you all of this, I'm still angry. I still feel kind of helpless, and I still don't have any actual answers right now. And I don't know if anyone will for a long time. What I do know is that none of the 49 people who were killed deserve to die for being who they are. None of them deserve to die because they wanted to go dancing. None of them deserve to die because they were gay. None of them deserve to die because they wanted to have a drink. None of them deserve to die because it was Latin night in an LGBT club in Orlando, Florida. It's just it's inexcusable. Like there's no reason for this yet. Okay, and honestly, the cycle of violence that we have in the country is exhausting. And I hope that all of you are as tired of as I am. And I also hope you will take a stand against it along with me. You know, like I sincerely hope that there's not some suggested video of cats playing keyboards or shit in, like in the suggestion here, because I don't want you to forget what I'm saying. What I'm getting at is that there are clearly bad people in the world, and we all need to take a stand against it. Okay? 49 people died this weekend, and that's not okay. It should never be okay. And the complacency that we're seeing over this and every other mass shooting, whether you want to say this is about gun ownership and we need to ban AR-15s, or whether you want to say that this just goes along with the bathroom bills, like whatever response you have to this, 49 people are dead, and it's a problem. It's a genuine problem, and it needs to be addressed. Anyway, sorry for this being the only update in a while. We're going to be back to doing regular shows. This week we had intended to begin working on a new project for us. We've already got the new intro for the shows. It's the intro and outro is not going to be on this. I think you all understand why. But we're intending to do back to our regular schedule. We're going to have a new intro, new outro, everything. Like I said, we have a new title card for the show. And we're going to be branching out and being like solely an online podcast as well as the YouTube show. And we're going to be putting our episodes on Facebook from now on too. So, yeah. Anyway, if you're not squeamish or whatever, maybe consider going and donating blood. But more importantly, beyond all of the normal suggestions I would make in a time like this, like going and donating blood or giving money to the Red Cross or whatever. If you know someone who's gay or is a lesbian or is transgender, bisexual, hug them. Not just hug them if you can, but call them, text them, let them know you love them, especially if they're family. Because I can promise you, having seen what's on my own personal Facebook page, my newsfeed, there's a lot of people who are hurting right now, and that's kind of why Nick and I decided to just not do a show like an actual normal happy-go-lucky show that we would. Anyway, we'll be back soon, I promise. So just thanks for listening and watching, and I would say like the video, comment on it, share and subscribe it, but that's kind of a normal thing for us. But we'll talk to all of you again soon. I hope. Just one final thing. Remember, we love all of you, and we're so happy that you choose to watch and or listen to our shows. So again, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good week, everybody. Bye-bye.